My name is Julia and I am a knitter and a sewer and grafter of all kinds, and I live in the UK. This is the first episode of my new kind of knitting and sewing podcast that I'm starting for 2022, and I just wanted to kind of give you guys a little bit of an idea of who I am and why I've started this podcast and all that kind of context behind it in this first episode, before I sort of show you my works in progress and things like that that you normally do in these sorts of videos. But I will get to that. Okay, so I am starting this podcast kind of as a way to challenge myself. I've been knitting and sewing for about 10 years now. I taught myself to knit when I was at university, and I started a little club. And then I've probably been sewing maybe for a little bit longer than that, but seriously for about the same amount of time, so for about 10 years for both of them. And in that whole time, it's really just been a bit of a hobby, something that I enjoy doing, but not something that I have been doing as a way to really considerably make a large part of my wardrobe, or do any like really large or elaborate kind of projects, just little things here and there that I've enjoyed making and I sometimes wear. And in recent years, I've been trying to push myself more towards doing this in a serious manner. So for example, I knitted this jumper. This is the second one that I ever knit, and I wear a reasonable amount, and I want to do more things like that, basically. Yeah, so this is the idea. I want to take you guys with me as I try and make more projects that are usable in my everyday life, and really increase the amount of stuff that I'm doing more than just sort of a little bit here and there. The other thing that I want to do with this podcast is, probably this is a bit difficult to explain, but basically a couple of years ago I did a little bit of like a mini kind of no-buy year. Not a proper one, I didn't sort of ban myself from buying anything, but I said I wasn't going to buy any new books, which is unrelated, or any new clothes in a whole year. This was, I think, maybe 4 years ago, 5 years ago, something like that. And instead of buying clothes, sometimes I made a few, and in the winter when I started it in January, I had plenty of kind of winter clothes, but I didn't have very much summer clothes, so I had to make a few pieces, and it really pushed me forward a little bit on that kind of journey towards being a serious sewer and a serious, less so at the time, a serious knitter, but it kind of gave me inspiration. And as many of you guys I'm sure probably are familiar with, there's that saying that knitting and sewing and that sort of stuff is one hobby, and then like buying yarn and buying fabric is a completely separate hobby, and I have definitely fallen into that trap. So this year I am going to do a no-buy as well, but this time it's going to be a no-buy on new crafting materials. So no new yarn, no new fabric, no new kind of tools. Only I will replace tools, obviously, so if I've got certain knitting needles that break, I'm going to need some new ones, I'll replace those, but nothing new that I would want to use for a project or that I just liked when I went into the shop and bought, because I have a considerable stash and quite a lot of ideas that I want to do, and yet I spend all my energy, all my creative energy, like searching through you know, online shops for new fabric, for new yarn, or seeing somebody else's knitting podcast and going, oh, that looks lovely, I would love to make that. What yarn could I buy for it? And then buying the yarn, or looking at buying the yarn and then never actually making it. So I have a stash that I want to get through, and I don't want to buy anything new to add to it, and I want to actually commit to making all of the stuff I've got the ideas for. So that's generally the idea. Okay, so this is going to be the big stash bust year of 2022, and get serious about sewing and knitting. Yeah, cool. All right, so with that in mind, I'm going to kind of split the podcast episodes into, so I'm going to try and upload every 2 weeks. I would love to be able to do every week, but I am not a fast knitter personally. So if I uploaded every week, it would just be 4 weeks in a row of me showing you the same thing that I'm working on. Not be very interesting. Also want to do every other podcast to be about knitting and the things that I'm making there, and then every other one to be about sewing and things that I've been making there. So if you are only interested in one of those things, you can just skip every other episode, and it just makes it easier for me to organise. So effectively there'll be a month between every episode of the same type, so I will have time to really kind of make some interesting stuff to show you guys. So this first episode is going to be knitting, and since it's the beginning, I thought I'd show you guys my stash, everything that I have to work from this year. It's reasonably big, it's not huge. I wouldn't say this is a huge stash, but there's plenty here for me to work with, and tell you what my ideas of what I'm going to make, things that I'm not sure what I'm going to do with, and then I'll show you my whips from like the current moment, and I've got like one finished object to show you. I could show you all the stuff that I've made, but I'm not going to do that. If something comes up where I do an episode on something, I might want to show you things I made in the past, I might do that. Cool, so I've got all of my yarn down here, and I'm going to first go through some of the stuff where I really have a good idea of what I want to make with it, and then I'm going to go through the other stuff where either I don't like necessarily have like a full skein of that yarn, I've just got a little bit, or things where I'm not really sure what I'm going to do with that yarn. That's vaguely the manner that it's organised. So let's start with this. Okay, so this is the West Yorkshire Spinners Fusions Aran. It's like a kind of creamy browny mottled colourway. I think it's called Coffee and Cream, and it is discontinued, I think. I purchased 5 balls of this online, and then I was looking at stuff to make with it, and I found the Carp Beth pattern by, God, my brain is gone, Kate Davies Designs, there we go. It's sort of a new pattern that she's put out that's very similar to an old, very, very popular sweater pattern called Carbeth. And it uses yarn held double, and I would need 6 skeins really to be able to realistically make that pattern. I think it would look really nice with the sort of variegated yarn held double, so that there's like a lot of texture to the colour, but I don't have enough. And I went back to find more, nowhere to be found. So instead, what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to make a fisherman's rib sort of brioche style sweater. There are a couple of patterns that I'm looking at, and so I'm going to make some swatches up and see what I like in terms of the fabric, and then pick one of them basically. So that's that one. Okay. Then I have something that I feel like everybody kind of starts with. I have this giant ball of Wendy's Aran with wool. I think it's 75% acrylic, 25% wool, sort of style yarn. So it's not like the highest quality. I really like the mustardy yellow colour. I bought this recently. I bought another kind of big, massive 400 gram thing for a sweater that I made when I had, I'll tell you about this in a bit, but I got really stuck on a project and I was just getting nowhere with it, and I thought, you know, I just want to make something quick and easy. So I bought a 400 gram ball of like this red, purpley Aran weight yarn, and just knit up the Turtle Dove sweater by Espace Tricot, which is a free pattern and very simple, very quick, and it just kind of gave me my knitting mojo back, and I was like, I'll do it again. So I bought another one, and then I was like, do I really want to buy a lot of acrylic yarn? So I've got this. I don't think I'm going to make the same sweater because I have actually now knit it twice. I knit another one as a gift knit for a friend of mine, and I'll show you the yarn that I used for it, but I can't show you the sweater because I have already given it to her. Oh, there we go. What I think I'm going to make with this is sort of a ballet wrap style cardigan, which I know is normally made in a much lighter weight yarn than Aran, but I think the colour looks really good and it could be quite like a cozy version, less summery. So that's one where I'm going to try and come up with a pattern myself. I have never done that for a sweater before. I'm not going to make it complicated. It's going to be pretty simple, probably just basic kind of raglan construction and then just cross over at the front. But that I'm quite excited about. I've never made a pattern before. That's what I want to do with that one. Okay, next, sock yarn. I'm going to make socks. Pretty straightforward. Probably just vanilla ones. I like a basic sock. I'm going to make socks. Cool. This is chunky 100% merino yarn from like John Lewis, which is a department store here in the UK. So it's like their own brand stuff. I've got two of these, they're little 50-gram skeins. I'm probably going to make myself a hat, and again, probably kind of a brioche thing. I've only ever made one brioche pattern before. I made it several times, but I really like it, and I want to make a sweater, I want to make a hat. Love this colour. It's going to be extremely Christmassy. I might even put a white pom-pom on it, but that might be overkill maybe. But yeah, I'm going to make a hat. And then I have some Drops Kid Silk. I've got 3 skeins of this. It is a lace weight yarn. I don't know if you guys can see that on the camera, but it's extremely fine. Silk merino blend. So these skeins are 25 grams, but because it's so fine, I think the yardage or the meterage, yeah, it's quite large, 210 meters. So the plan is to make quite a kind of light, very airy, loose, little blousey, summery top thing. Extremely inspired by Cat Weaver of Heather and Hops. If you guys watch any podcast, she like makes these beautiful like lightweight like silky merino blouses. She's made like quite a few of them. I know she's done ranunculus in this sort of thing, and there's a couple of other designs. I haven't decided exactly what pattern, but that's the kind of vibe I want to go for. Something that I can use in the summer in the UK where the weather is really, it's never as good as you think it's going to be. You just put it on, keep yourself a little bit warm. So that's that one. And then I have another lace weight yarn, but this is Alpaca. It's a Cascade Yarns alpaca lace. And I've got 2 skeins of this as well. It's this sort of, I don't know how well this is showing up on camera. I call it denim. I don't know what the colourway is actually called, but it's like bluey, grey, little bit of lilac in there mottled. There is a lace scarf pattern that I cannot remember the name of, or the designer's name. So I will put that, probably a link into that in the description. It's very, very, very simple. It's just this sort of one repeating lace stitch. So not even like a repeating lace pattern, just one stitch all the way through. And I think it just looks gorgeous and sophisticated. So I'm going to try that one out. I've not really done a huge amount of lace before, so this will be quite interesting for me. And yeah, I'm excited about that one. I'm not sure if I'm going to keep it for myself or if I'm going to gift it to somebody else, because there's not a lot in my wardrobe that will go with that other than jeans because of the denim colour. So I don't know if I'll keep it or I'll give it away, but I'm excited to knit it anyway. And then the last thing that I really have plans for is this sort of bag all together of stuff. So let me show you what is in here. I have got 2 skeins of this Fibre Spates Vivacious DK weight yarn. I love green. I love green. Green's my favourite colour. Anyway, so this is, I think it's called Forest. Does it say on the label? No, Everglade. There we go. Completely wrong. And it is beautifully mottled, and I've got some other yarns that I think will work well with it. So I have got another Cascades yarn. This is 220 Superwash. Supposedly sport weight, but I don't know in whose world that is sport weight. That is like definitely a DK. Anyway, so I think they look really nice together. This one, you know, the dark green. I don't know how well this is showing up on camera because this always seems to look kind of blue and very like grayed out. It's not as vivid, but really, really beautiful kind of forest green, I would say, or hunter green. I think the colorway is a hunter green is called. And so I think those with a much lighter, this is an off-white alpaca yarn. I've lost the ball band for it, so I don't know what the brand is, but I got given a couple of skeins, different colours from my sister-in-law's parents on Christmas. It was very generous of them. And oh my god, it's so soft. Like, just so alpaca-y and lovely. So I am gonna use that together with these and maybe pick out one extra kind of contrasting colour to go with it. And I'm gonna make the, I think it's, oh, I'm gonna pronounce this wrong, Soldotna crop by Caitlin Hunter, which is this little cropped, short-sleeved sort of sweater, colourwork yoke kind of pattern. Lots of people have modified it to make it long-sleeved, and I think because I've got 2 skeins of the Vivacious DK, I can do that. There's not much needed for the other colours. I also have several more skeins of this. I think I have like, I originally had 5. I bought it in America when I was there with a friend of mine. 2014, I think. God, I've had this a long time. I bought 5 skeins thinking that that would be enough to make a jumper. These are 50 grams, so I was wrong about that. This was a pattern for me for a long time, and I think it's still sort of a bit of a pattern for me, but not quite as bad, where I go, oh, the pattern says I need this much, and I can probably get away with like getting one less, and then realising my mistake, and then not knowing what to do with it, and then feeling really bad. So yeah, I have some left over. I've used bits of it for other projects. I made a hat. I've made a couple of little things. So I have, I think, 3 full skeins and then like 2 random bits lying around, or 2 full skeins and 3 random bits lying around. So I might use the rest of that for something else, but I don't know yet. So we'll pop that all away. That's that one. Anyway, I mean, that's the one I'm most excited about, I think, at the moment, because, as I said, green. Okay, then let's go on to like other stuff where I have like at least a full skein and I have no idea what to do with it. So you guys give me your ideas. I will just show you what it is, tell you where I got it from, or like what I had it for. And then we'll probably do things that have like random bits and pieces lying around. I don't know what I'm gonna do with that. So, this is another West Yorkshire Spinners yarn. This is the chunky Roving in the colour Serene. Oh my god, this green is beautiful. I guess I love green. This is what I used to make the Turtle Dove sweater for my friend as a gift kit. So she bought the yarn. She got 4 skeins of it, which I thought would be enough because I used 400 grams on the previous sweater. And then I was like, she's taller than me. I need to make the sleeves longer. I need to make the body longer. And I was getting like close to being done. And I was like, oh no, I'm going to need more yarn. So I ordered myself another skein, and then I actually was fine. Although it would have been extreme yarn checking because I think I had like 4 meters left of it, like just a little wiggly pile at the end. So I have this left over. I think I'm gonna keep hold of it, and at least some of it left over in case she gets a hole in her sweater and she needs to darn it or anything. But I'm gonna probably try and use some of it for something. I don't know what. It would make a good hat. Maybe I could give her a hat for Christmas. Grace, if you're watching this, I'm totally not going to knit you something else with this yarn for your birthday or Christmas. Okay, that's that one. No, go in the pot. Go in there. Okay. I have some Plopy. I bought Let Lopi in the past, so all right, let's do the yarn itchiness talk. I am like not super sensitive to itchy yarn. I think some people really struggle with it. But there's some stuff that is a little bit too itchy for me. So Let Lopi is a little bit too itchy for me, really. Just at least to wear against my skin. Could probably make something where I have it over a t-shirt or whatever. This bra strap, just ignore that. Just pretend that was never there. But everybody's been making stuff. I watch a lot of knitting podcasts. I'm gonna stop doing that. Everybody's been making stuff with things like Plutolopi or Nutidin, which is another unspun yarn. And I thought, I'll buy a skein, or like a, I can't remember what they call these. It's not a skein. Whatever they call it. And see if I think it's too itchy or not. And then maybe if I like it, I will make something and get some more. So I bought this green one, and it's fine. It's not too itchy for me. I think it's just a little bit less itchy, a little bit less scratchy than that Lopi. But I only bought one, and then I'm doing them no buy, so I can't buy any more. And I don't know what to do with it because the colour, this green colour, like really screams summer to me. It's like greeny kind of colour. But the yarn like texture is very windy. Okay, let's speed up a bit because I'm taking ages. Right, I've got 2-ish, 1 and a bit skeins of this undyed Jacobs West Yorkshire Spinners sort of DK weight yarn. And I bought this for a sweater project, which I finished. I bought way too much. This was the opposite problem. I think I overcorrected, so I've got quite a lot left. Not 100% sure what I want to make with this, because it's not really enough for a jumper, but I feel like the yarn is really jumpery. It's like cozy, I don't know, rich. I think it's too similar to the colour of my hair to make a hat. And it's a little bit too thick and bulky to make something like mittens, I think. I mean, I could. Yeah, any ideas, let me know. I don't think it will, sometimes with some of these individual skeins, I'm kind of like tempted to use them with colour work, if I've got other weights that go, but I don't know if I have many other colours that will work nicely with this, so I don't know if I can use it for that. I'll have a think about it. There we go. I've got 2 skeins for that. Blah, blah, blah. Right, on to the like random bits and pieces. So I have a little bit left over of, this is also West Yorkshire Spinners and it's also undyed, but this is Blueface Leicester rather than Jacobs breed. And it's like off-white, obviously, colour. I think it's called Ecru, they call it. I'm just like, it's cream basically. It's basically cream. This is what I used together with the Jacobs fleece for a sweater project. I'm sure I'll show you that sweater at some point. It was like a kind of natural colour work vibe going on. But I have used some of the rest of it. I had about the same amount left over, but I used some of the rest of it for a hat for my mum and some mittens which don't fit because I did them wrong. So I'm going to frog those and remake them. But I only have this much left. So I could maybe use it together with the Jacobs fleece, make a hat or something to go with that sweater, but I don't really know. Well, we'll have a think about it. Okay. This is the leftover of the other giant ball of Aran bargain, mostly acrylic. This is James Seabrett's rustic Aran tweed, and I really like the colour. It's this sort of bottled ready burgundy colour with little bits of flecks in it. As I said, I made the Espace Tricots Turtle Dove sweater. Again, I've probably got enough left for a hat or something. Or maybe some like slipper socks or something like that, but I don't know yet. I haven't got inspiration. I'm already gonna make 1 red hat. I don't know if I need 2 red hats. I could gift knit for somebody else with it though, so that's useful. I have this gorgeous, I think this is knitting for Olive Merino, but I've lost the ball round. I made a hat for my cousin and it will be on my Ravelry page, which probably will include the yarn in it. I bought 1 skein. I don't know how much I've got left, so I don't know if I could get another hat out of it or I'm just going to use it together with something else colour work, but we'll see. And then sock yarns. I have 2 of these West Yorkshire Spinners sock yarns. They're self-striping ones, obviously. This one is their pheasant colourway. I made some socks for my dad, so it was 100 grams originally. I have no idea how much is left. I should probably weigh it, but I could probably get 1 more pair out of it, maybe shorty socks. It looks deceptively large, but I pulled from the centre, so there's a lot of air in there inside. I really like this colourway, and I'm going to show you in a second, but I'm currently using it for something. The sort of like matching yarn that goes with this collar and the stripe, and I use that for the cuffs and heels and stuff for my dad's socks, so I might do something similar again for myself. And then there's this one, which is called Roving, which I thought looked really, really, really nice when I looked at it online, and I don't like it. I forced myself to knit something with it. I made these shorty little socks. I didn't like them. I put them in the wash, foolishly, because I know I've just moved and my new washing machine here is a little bit more aggressive than my old ones. I used to be able to put my hand knit socks in the wash and they would be fine as long as they were super wash, and these were not fine. They shrank and they didn't fit anymore. So I wore them once and then I threw them away. So I don't really want to use the rest of it. I don't really like it. If I find somebody else who really likes it, I could knit them some socks, or I could give it to them if they're in a temper. I just don't really like it. It's just foolish purchase. And then last little bits. Okay. A couple of random skeins, a little bit of alpaca that's similar to that off-white that I've shown you, and this is the Fibre Spates Vivacious 4+. It's kind of similar to that green DK, a little bit textured colour. I knit a hat for a friend. I've got just a tiny bit left. Don't know what I'm going to do with it. And then my secret shame. Right, so if you remember earlier, I was saying that I bought that like big ball of Aran yarn, that the red one that I used to make that jumper, because I was stuck on a project and I was like, I just need something quick and easy that will make me feel good. And the project is the Yell cardigan by Merino, which is a very popular sort of Fair Isle, beautiful colour work, boxy, like silhouette cardigan that I think a lot of people have made, and I really want to make it. I still really want to make it, but the reason that I got stuck on it was because I tried to do different colours from what the pattern suggests, because the pattern colours are quite warm, undertoned and quite muted, and that's not really me. So I selected a bunch of different yarns from the same yarn company that is recommended for the pattern, which is Jamieson's of Shetland, or just Jamieson's I think it's called. The yarn is Spindrift. It's a sort of fingering weight Shetland yarn. It's a little bit rustic. There's hundreds of colours, they've got loads. And I selected a few, knit up a swatch for the colour work, decided that I liked the selection that I picked, started knitting the cardigan, and just didn't work. I just didn't like the colours. So I ripped it back a little bit, re-knitted it with different colours, still didn't like it, still couldn't come up with a plan with what I wanted, and I just gave up basically. So let me show you. I won't show you the whole thing because it's in this bag. It's really somewhat grubby. It's not project bag, it's just a bag. I won't show you the whole thing, but the swatch that I did was like this. There's much more vibrant colours and much more contrast, which I like if I'm going to do colour work. I want it to be quite contrasty. There are some bits where it's a bit less, but mostly it's very high contrast, very bright. And I just don't quite think it worked, and I think I figured out why, which I will show you. I'm going to show you the yarn, but basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to frog what I've done, and I'm going to reuse the yarn for some completely different projects, and then next year I'm going to come back to this with what I've learnt and try and redo the cardigan again, basically. Okay, so the reason why I think it didn't work, which if you are good at colours, you're probably immediately told from the swatch, is basically that when I was picking out yarn colours, I picked out things that I liked, and I tried to pick things that I thought were going to work well together, but I basically ended up picking like two completely different like colour stories with very little overlap. And so I have this sort of selection that's sort of browns, and let me find all the bits and pieces in here. Like, got some more brown that I didn't actually end up using. And like reds, like a warm sort of greeny colour. This is this very kind of rustic, warm, that's not that red. There's another red in here. Let me find everything. Little piles. Yeah, so there's this sort of side of things, right? Hopefully you guys can see all go together gorgeously. Little bit less contrasty than maybe I would be going for, but like really nice kind of colour story going on there. So I had a bunch of those, and then I had a bunch of these, plus some other stuff that I sort of stole from my stash. There's a few more balls of yarn in there. I haven't got them all out, but this is sort of the, just to kind of give you an illustration. These are still really vibrant and more cool toned, or like neutral undertone, which also go really well together. And then you put them all together and they don't go with each other. So I didn't have enough variety. I had to have some yarns that I hadn't used when I did my original swatch, but I didn't have a whole selection to go together for all the different colours that you need in it, because it's a very, like this, I think there's something like 11 or 12 different colours suggested in the pattern. And I didn't have one cohesive set that was all from that. So I think I'm gonna frog everything back that I've done, and then I'm gonna try and make one thing that's in this sort of colourway, and then like one thing that's in this sort of colourway. Now, the Merry one Yell cardigan is quite like this, if you've seen it, you'll know it's like this boxy, big kind of loose oversized body shape. So even though I've only got one skein of each colour, and I'm sort of splitting the amount of yarn that I bought in half, I think I should have enough to make something if I choose to go for more of a cropped, slightly more fitted shape. I don't know exactly what I'm going to make. Maybe like it's just a stripe sweater, like I know Andrea Mary has this striped sweater pattern, or maybe just pick out like a general circular yoke or raglan style sweater and then just do that but with stripes. For at least one of them. And now I think these colours, these bright colours, I don't know, you guys tell me what you think. I think this is the colour that actually suits me better, even though I'm really drawn to the warm colours. So I think what I'll do is I'll make something for myself in these colours and then gift knit with the others so that they are out of my life and I don't have to worry about them fitting in with my wardrobe or just not really suiting me. Yeah, as I said, there's a few other colours of things in here. So a little bit more of the Shetland yarn, a little bit of my stash, but it all sort of fits into the same thing. Yeah, I'm a bit annoyed about this, really, honestly. I love the idea of the Merry Woolen cardigan, but I messed up. So I'm gonna have to, you know, I don't know, what's the phrase? I feel like there's a saying. I don't know. I made my bed, so I'm gonna lie in it. There we go. Right, okay, finally, whoops and FOs. Right, so there's just two here, so I'm gonna get through this real quick. If you've made it this far, well done. Gold star. Fantastic. So there's two. So this is, I was saying about how I want to knit more brioche. This is the brioche pattern that I've made before. I've made several of these as gift knits and have not knit one for myself, which is foolish. This is also a gift knit. I'm not worried about putting it on the internet because I could immediately, after I film this, send it to my friend. It was supposed to be a Christmas present and I thought I was going to see her and I didn't, so I'm going to post it to her. This is the, I'm going to butcher the pronunciation, Treo headband pattern. I'll put it in the thing. It's by Laird of Fibre Tales on YouTube, and I believe it is a free pattern, or that might just be me because I've had it for ages. I just think about it as free. It's just this little headband, and there you go. I knit this up with the Cascade 220 Superwash Hunter Green. Again, it's probably showing up as quite blue, but it is very green. yarn. There's some of the random bits that I had lying about, so I used up just a little bit and held it double, so it's quite thick, grocery, warm. Right, yeah, just mess that up before I post it to my friend. There we go. Good job, me. And lovely socks. Everybody loves hand-knitted socks. So I have finished one, and I'm currently beating the second socks in Gentleman with my sudden burst of motivation. This is, the yarn is also West Yorkshire Spinners sock yarn, so this is that matching colour that's supposed to go with the pheasant. But I really just like the colour. Again, I'm really drawn to warm colours, and I don't know if they really suit me, but that's okay. And the sock pattern is the Hermione's Everyday Sock, which I think is possibly the most popular sock pattern on Ravelry. And I'm also pretty sure it's free. It's just really simple textured sock. I did the heel how I normally do the heels. I don't think I really paid attention to the pattern. I was just like looking for the texture pattern. And I think with the yarn choice, like the colour and the texture together, it just gives this really like rustic vibe, this sort of, I'm gonna go and feed my chickens, or I'm gonna go hike up a mountain in the 1910s and I'm wearing big poofy woolen trousers and one of those golf hats or something. I don't know, I just really like it, I vibe with it. So I'm gonna finish the second one, and then I'm gonna wear them around the house and be extremely cozy and hand wash them so I don't ruin them. Now that I have discovered that my new washing machine is a bit rubbish. Okay, so right, I hope that was interesting for everybody. I am really excited to actually like make a proper denim stash and do all the things that I wanted to do and I bought this for, rather than just buy more stuff and not do any of the things that I wanted to do and I bought this yarn for. So thank you so much for watching. I will see you next time when I'm going to show you all of my fabric stash, and then we can come up with plans for that as well. If you have any ideas of what to make for some of those things that I've showed, feel free to put it in the comments. I'll link to my Ravelry page, and I don't have any other social media, so it's just that. So follow me in there if you're interested, I guess. I don't keep it updated. This is the place to be, really.